It's been a little while since I did my last video. You know the drill by now. If you are watching live, drop me a little comment to say hello so that I know you're here. If you are watching on the replay, drop me a little hashtag replay so that I know that you've seen this video. So far we've covered the first two keys to getting all of your needs consistently met. The first is what, where we talked about the universal needs tree and the 4 different groups and the needs that sit within them. The second key was knowing that it is possible to meet all of your needs at a base level for yourself. Key number 3, to getting all of your needs consistently met, is to know how to get your needs met in the ways that work specifically for you. Because while it's helpful to know what your needs are, it's just as important to know the ways of meeting your needs that not only work for you, but actually fulfill your needs and nourish them really fully. Hi, Don, good to see you here. And then the ways of meeting your needs that actually can drain you without you knowing it. Unfortunately, the way that we have been taught in our culture to meet our needs actually often works against our needs feeling fulfilled. And this is why. Because the universal needs tree, the 12 groups, the survival needs, which are the roots of the trunk, the roots of the tree, the intrinsic needs, which is the trunk of the tree, the branches, which is the expansive needs, and the leaves and the fruit, which are the enriching needs. They all sit in the center of a spectrum. And the way you choose to meet those needs sits somewhere on this spectrum. One end of the spectrum is red and the other end of the spectrum is green. So it's not enough to just know what your needs are. It's also important to understand this red-green spectrum and what the 2 ends of the spectrum are, and more importantly, how you can move the way you're meeting your need along that spectrum. So at one end of the spectrum is the red way of meeting needs. Now, unfortunately, this is the way our culture, generally speaking, has taught us to meet our needs. And at the red end of the spectrum, these are the ways of meeting our needs which are less healthy, less fulfilling, less empowering, and the ways of meeting our needs that they'll stop you immediately needing the need, but they won't actually fulfill them. So I describe this end of the spectrum as being a little bit like a fast food meal, like a ready meal, a TV dinner way of meeting our needs. And what that means is that you can spend a lot of time and energy meeting your needs at that end of the spectrum, but by being at that end of the spectrum, it's not actually providing the nourishment. So a little bit like a TV dinner, it might stop you from being hungry for a while, but because it's not actually providing the nutrition and nourishment that your body is craving, an hour later or so, you're probably going to want something more to eat. And the same is true. This is the end of the spectrum where you can be doing loads and loads of stuff to be meeting the need, but in actual fact, the needs are only getting met this amount as a consequence of choosing to meet your needs in those ways. At the opposite end of the spectrum, the green end of the spectrum, these are the more healthy, more empowering, more fulfilling ways of meeting our needs. And this is like a home-cooked, whole food, nutritionally balanced meal where not only does it stop you from being hungry, but it actually provides the nourishment that you're requiring. So not only does it fill you up, but you stay fuller for longer. And it's the same with meeting our needs at this end of the spectrum. This is the end of meeting our needs, or this is the ways of meeting our needs where you can do this amount of stuff, but actually the level of fulfillment that your needs get is incredible by comparison. So not only is it important for you to know what your needs are, it's so important for you to understand the red-green spectrum and the fact that how you meet the need, the ways of meeting your need will sit somewhere on that spectrum. And depending on where on that spectrum it sits, will depend how fulfilled your needs will feel. Now, this is one of the reasons that one of the questions I always get asked is, well, Claire, why don't you tell us what the 12 universal needs are now, as opposed to just the 4 groups? And there's a very specific reason for this, because if we let everybody know what the 12 universal needs are without providing the context of the red-green spectrum and ensuring that they know the ways of meeting their needs, which are going to take a small amount of time, energy and effort, the quick, easy and simple ways of meeting a need that are going to have the big results, what can end up happening is the more needs you know that you have, if you are meeting your needs at the red end of the spectrum, which, as I said, is the way that we've been culturally conditioned to meet our needs, we can end up doing more and more stuff in order to try to meet our needs, but not really feel any fulfillment as far as those needs are concerned. So what it can end up doing is where we're actually putting out lots of energy to try to meet all 12 of these needs. But if by doing it at that end of the spectrum, we end up actually feeling drained because we're putting out more energy than we're actually getting in from the way that we're meeting the need, which is why we only go into the detail of all 12 of the universal needs when we also explain the red-green spectrum in enough detail that you understand not only what the spectrum is, or where on the spectrum a way of meeting a need would be, but more importantly, how to shift and move the ways of meeting your need from the red end of the spectrum to the green end of the spectrum. Because when you can do that, you can know all 12 of your needs, because it doesn't take much time, energy, or effort to meet the needs and to still have them feel incredibly nourished and fulfilled. So the first key to getting all of your needs met, consistently met, is that you need to know what your needs are. First, you need to know that it is possible for you to meet the majority of your base level needs for yourself. And the third thing is you need to understand and know the how. What are the ways of meeting the needs, not only that work for you personally, because the ways of meeting your needs that work for you will differ from somebody else. So the ways that work for me to meet my needs won't work necessarily the same for you to meet your needs, and vice versa. The things that will really work for you won't necessarily really work for me. So not only do we need to know the ways that work for us specifically and individually, and that's one of the things that we do in the Universal Needs program, we help take you through a process to help you figure that out, but more importantly, that you understand where the way you're meeting the needs sits on that red-green spectrum, and how you can move the way along from the red end of the spectrum, which is the pattern and the conditioning that we've had culturally, move it along that spectrum so that it's more at the green end of the spectrum, so you can do a small amount to meet your needs, put in a small amount of time, energy, and effort, and get a huge benefit, and in terms of nourishment and fulfillment at the end. Because what that means is it makes meeting your needs quick, easy, and simple, and it means that it's manageable. It means it's something we can fit into our day-to-day life without it feeling like it's cumbersome, or that there's not any time or space for it. So, for example, the practice that the Universal Needs practice that we teach within the program that ensures that each and every one of your needs are getting met every single day. Actually, once you get into the habit of it, only takes between 5 to 15 minutes. So we really want this to be something super simple, quick, and easy that will fit easily into your life, but also that will mean that the ways that you're meeting your needs are the ones that are really nourishing and really fulfilling. So that's it for today. And I will be back next week with the fourth key to how to get each and every single one of your needs consistently met in the ways that work for you. Thank you for being here. If you've got any questions, if you've got anything you want to know about needs, drop me a little comment underneath, and I will be sure to do a needs nugget on it after I finish the 7 video series. But in the meantime, have a great weekend. Enjoy that. If you're in the UK, enjoy the gorgeous weather we're having right now. If you're not in the UK, I hope you have an amazing weekend wherever you are anyway. Much love from me to you. I'll speak to you again really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.